Mind if I finish this real quick? Let me finish. Peace, family. This is Ayapo. And this is Ayapo Yapa. Ayapo Yapa is an acronym. Stands for if you aren't pissed off, you aren't paying attention. Well, it's good to be back. One day I'll explain why I was gone for so long. One day I'll explain why I was gone for so long. But I have been watching a few streams sporadically. I actually got to a point where I just wanted to be like away from YouTube for a while. Not only being on it, but even just watching anyone on it. But I did manage to keep up with Sister Ajali and listen to what she says, because she's always pretty much spot on. And she'll be the first to say, her and I don't see eye to eye on every single solitary issue, but that's fine. People don't have to agree on every single thing, but in spirit, we pretty much agree, with everything. I've been watching Psycho's live streams and so on, but I just want to start out by saying that I've had a lot of time to really think about things, think about my positions, watch different things that are going on with our people. And frankly, a lot of it is disheartening. Sometimes I don't know whether we really understand where we are and what's going on around us. And I don't mean that in an insulting way, or like I have it all figured out, or that I know everything. As a matter of fact, quite the contrary. I'm just now really starting to get a deeper understanding of what's going on around me and where I am. And I found that my new saying, whenever I hear something happening, like another unarmed black person being shot, another black woman being insulted and degraded and so on. Now I basically just say, I know where I am. And I mean, I literally say that out loud. I'm like, I know where I am. And I know who I'm dealing with. The fact that we seem surprised by what's going on, or when something is done to us, shows that we possibly really don't know where we are. We're in a environment that is hostile to our people. We're in a system that's hostile to our people. They have the discussion about HR 40 going on, and I asked Angela the other day. I was like, what's the big deal? John Conyers has been pushing this for year after year after year after year after year after year after year, and now all of a sudden it's turned into this big deal, and everybody's talking about it. First off, nobody's talking about our people getting reparations. What's being talked about is whether we're going to even talk about it. Get it? They're talking about whether we're going to talk about it. it's crazy, and all this fervor is coming about, and everybody's, it's on everybody's lips, as if it's something new. John Conyers has been talking about this for years and pushing for this for years. But I'll tell you what, it all goes back to what I call the 4-year booty call. Look, you got people, you got all these people coming up talking about, we want to talk about reparations. What's happening is that a lot of these hopefuls want to get the black vote, and we as a people, because through no fault of our own, have become so easy that all you have to do is not insult us, and we're ready to invite you to the cookout. You don't even have to say anything positive. You just have to not say anything negative, and we're ready to invite you to the barbecue, because we're so hurt. We're so we've been so degraded, and so now you have this entire field of political hopefuls wanting to get the black vote, and they know that one of the fastest ways to do that is to start talking about reparations. Guaranteed, once we put them in the position that they want to be in, just like happens with celebrities, just like it's happened with Obama and so on, use us to step on to get to where they want to go, and then once they get there, turn around and take a piss on us. Got nothing to do with us anymore after that. So yeah, they'll talk about that all the way up to the time that you're walking into the polls. And see, right now we have Trump in office, so they're looking at this situation like, if ever I'm going to win, or if ever I'm going to have a chance to beat somebody, it's now. So everybody's like making a bum rush to the to the podium, trying to be the nominee. Excuse me. And they need our vote. Like I said, the 4-year booty call. They need our vote. They'll court us for as long as they need to get to where they have to get, and then after that, you won't hear anything else about it. You won't hear anything else about it. And I've gotten to the point where, see, I used to believe in voting and all this, need to be part of the system, and our people fought and died so that we could have the right to vote, and blah 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 blah. But what I've come to understand now is that I don't vote because just in the act of voting, I'm giving legitimacy to the system. A system that I know is corrupt, a system that I know is foursquare against our people, and designed totally to keep our people down. And every time that I go and pull that lever, press that button, or whatever, poke that hole, then I'm giving legitimacy to an illegitimate system. But we're taught to do that. We're taught to do that. ADOS or ADOS, ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves. I won't go by that handle. I don't agree with it, because for me, words mean things. Words mean things. I am not a descendant of slaves. I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans. And there's a difference. See, to call someone a slave, that they are inherently a slave. To say someone is enslaved means that they were made a slave. See? And so, yeah, it's splitting a fine hair, but it's a hair I think is worth splitting, because when you use when you use the word master, right? Master has a positive connotation. I can't think of a single case in which you use the term master and it has a negative connotation. I've mastered this art. I have mastered this game. I have mastery over all I survey. Mastered. In what case does being a slave have a positive connotation? No matter how you put it, it always has a negative connotation. But being enslaved, although a negative thing, the connotation is not negative, because if you say that you're enslaved, that implies an enslaver. If you call someone a slave, they can be a slave on their own, to be honest. If you really think about it, a person can be a slave and not have. A person can be a slave and not necessarily have been forced to be one. You can become a drug addict or an alcoholic or what, and you're a slave to that thing, but it's something that you did to yourself. But if you are enslaved, then you are enslaved by something, and the enslaver is the one who caused the first action. And so we're taught to use all these words and all these terms that constantly make us the bad guy, all constantly make it so that whatever is happening to us is our fault or was our fault. And it wasn't. It was the fault of the enslaver. And then to say I'm an American, I was born in America. But here's the thing: when you're an American, that means that you have all the rights and privileges of an American. How do you have all the rights and privileges of an American, and you constantly have to have this amendment, this bill, this protection, this Fair Housing Act, this Anti-Discrimination Act? You constantly have to have something done so that you can live in the country. So how in the heck are you? How are you an American, or how can you just call yourself an American at that point? And you don't just by virtue of being born here have every right and privilege that any other person, or I'll say any other white person, just automatically has. White people don't have to have all these different things enacted just so that they can live. And even after it's enacted, it's still, it's still like there's the system that we're in is a redundant system. In other words, it was created in such a way that any step that we get forward, there's always something that'll keep us 2 steps back from that step. Automatically built into the system. Automatically. So that's why I don't use. I say Doaya is cumbersome. I know, but that's what I say. I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans in America. That's what I am. Doaya, not ADOS or ADOS, because it already implies ADOS already implies that you're an American, a full-fledged American, and then that you're a descendant of slaves. My people were not slaves. My people were free people who were enslaved. So, I like I said, I've had a lot of time to think about a whole lot of things. When I first came on my platform, if you go to the very beginning, my whole thing was that I was going to be talking about reparations. I believe that black people still do are still owed reparations. You have people like Mitch McConnell and others saying, well, we can't make everybody suffer for what happened 150 years ago. 150 years ago, let me tell you something. The civil rights movement and the right to vote happened in my lifetime. In my lifetime, and I'm not 150 freaking years old. I just feel like it sometimes. But I'm not 150 years old by a sight. So how does it, so what they're not looking at? And by the way, I'll add something to that. What they're not looking at when they talk about well, that happened in the past and so on and so forth. The problem is that all of the white people continue to benefit from the labor of black people. They enjoy the 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 privileges that have been afforded them by stepping on us, and we haven't been able to partake in any of that. And then they say, well, they talk about putting us on a level playing field. What good is being on a level playing field and you've been made crippled and crippled? In other words, you're on a game field. There's someone who's had time to train, to practice, to work out, to eat right, everything, and they're in top shape. And then they say, okay, I'm going to let you out on the field. You're going to let me out on the field. I've had no training. I've had no conditioning. I've been fed garbage in my arm, and you broke my arm, and you broke one of my legs. But then you push me out on that field and say, okay, you're on the same field, so now you can now play ball. Or on your mark, get set, go. These are the type of things that we're dealing with. And the real answer to all of this is to separate and get away from this system. Get out of this. There's no fixing it. There's no fix. What? Wait a minute. That's another thing. I've learned to stop saying that the system is broken or the system needs to be fixed. The system is not broken. The system works exactly the way it's supposed to work. That's like a bunch of mice coming up to me and saying, these traps keep killing us. You need to fix them. What I need to fix them for, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. That's what they're built to do, is to kill your ass. And that's the system that we're in right now. A system that's designed against us. Yeah, we perceive it as being broken because it works against it, but it's actually working exactly the way it's designed to work. And there's no the people who benefit from it, white people, have no interest in changing the system. In other words, the system doesn't need to be fixed. The system needs to be broken. And they have no interest in breaking the system because it works for them. And it works against us just the way it's supposed to. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep rambling on. I just wanted to come back, say hello to everybody, peace to everybody. I'm gonna try to. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but I am going to try to start posting again regularly, because I have a lot to say, because I've experienced a lot. I've learned a lot of different things, and some of my perspectives have changed. And I think they've changed even more strongly, if that's possible, in the direction of separating. And before you can separate physically, gotta separate in here. Got to, got to, got to, got to. Because it doesn't matter if you separate from it. I think I said in one of my other shares, it's like being in a relationship. You can physically separate from somebody, but if they're still all that you think about night and day and night, then you may as well still be with them. But you separate in here, you could be living in the same doggone house, and it won't matter because it's over and it's cut. So I know a lot of times the question becomes, well, how do we separate like that? I'll be talking about that. Angela and I have had a lot of discussions about all these things, and I really appreciate her because she's helped me to see a whole lot of different things in a different way, and hopefully I've done the same for her. But this is yeah. Anyway, I'm back, and I look forward to the next. I look forward to doing the next share. Peace to you all. Peace, Sister Ajali, my sister, my beloved sister. Buy this black. I'm always gonna say that. My sister wrote a book for our people. I'll leave the link at the bottom, the lab, so that you can go to Amazon, purchase it either in digital format or hardback, or hard, not hardback, but hard copy, and just just support our people who are for us. And I got things to say about that too. Don't forget to go to BeFabulousYou. That's Angela's channel. And that's about it. I'll talk to you soon. Peace, and I love you.